So this has been a long time coming, but it looks like the unboxing's been done and we're getting ready to start the build. The basic plan that I think I'm going to follow is the Prusa Manual actually has it broken down into 9 different steps. And I'm going to try and name, I'm not sure exactly how many I'll squeeze into each video because I'm trying not to make like a 3 or 4 hour video. So I want to have a few different videos with different names to them. To make it easier when somebody is looking for guidance or whatnot. I have no idea if I'll even run into any issues. It may just go together quick ish. So anyway, so the goal here is going to be smaller chunks of videos with the titles named correctly to link in with the manual. That's my goal. Got everything going. I think I got the views set up where it should be pretty good. I hope it works out well for y'all. But if you're here for a Mark III build, you're in the right place. I'm Ron and this is my place. Welcome back and let's get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the build and get it going, and I'm going to be talking as I go. So I apologize if I don't have a lot of eye contact, but I'm just going to kind of go through and do this. You should be able to see with that view here, the main view here, and then this view, you should be able to see as I'm doing things, and I'll try and switch things around. I'm sure I'll screw it up and miss something really cool, but I apologize. We'll do the best we can and get this bad boy built and printing. So what I'm going to do here is show you, this is the actual screen of what I'm going to be going through, and you can see that they actually have it online, and it's a bunch of different steps. So I'm going to click the introduction and then we'll just start going through this. I don't know how often I'll actually be showing you this. It's probably going to be only if I actually have anything of interest. So all of them are basically set up the same way, where you have a section that tells you what to gather up and then how everything works. And then it has you start doing it. Now, the interesting part that I like is this part right here. You can actually use the labels on the bags to actually figure out exactly what you're looking for, because, you know, M3, M4, M5, whatever. It's nice. So it's good setup. So let's get rolling here. I need to get some tools out. Let's switch to, let's go to, that's probably as good as any for right now. Actually, we'll go to this one. So, plug, probably not going to need that for a bit. So I'm going to set that off to the side. Give myself just a little bit more room. Kind of like that you'll know exactly what steps you're going to need these things. And I think that's actually very cool. Like right now, I'm looking for step 1 or 2. We'll go with 2. And some tools. And we have an LCD screen. And if you need to relax, we have acupuncture capabilities. Glue stick. And then another 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we'll just kind of set those there. And oh, I remember these are for very important actually, but they're for like strain relief. So that's an empty box. Yay. Okay, let's get some tools out here. I'm going to try and use the tools that came with it. If I get annoyed, I may switch over to my regular tools, but we'll see. We will see. Ooh, look. Tools. 0. Yay. Alright. Unbag some of these Allen wrenches. Okay. So we're going through that. We understand there's a spare bag in here somewhere. Spares. Yay. That's good. Spares are always a wonderful thing. You can also... Oops, sorry. You can actually click high resolution images if you're needing to browse in. And they apparently have actual revs now. Yeah. They actually have revision numbers. Versions. Actually on the parts. That's kind of cool. They're actually printed on the part itself. Just like you see, big surprise, just like they say in the manual. It is, yeah, you can see right there. They actually have it part of the print now. So you can know exactly what you have. Very cool. Makes a lot of sense. All right. So let's go back to this, and looks like we are at the finish line. So now we're going to go on to axis 2, and I'm probably going to edit a little bit on these just to hack out some of the dead time. So this says 37 steps, and they have absolutely no clue how long it takes. So we will see how long this takes. So we need all our tools, and we are going to... So I'm going to give you this view now because you don't need to see that. So we're going to go with this, I think, for now. I don't know. We'll see. So I need to get this. And the extrusions. This is the part that is the replacement for the screws, the screw rods that everybody hated. So I didn't have to mess with them. So that was actually not as big a deal to me, but everybody else didn't like them, so I assume there's a reason. So we need some M5 16 screws. So M5 by 16s. See, this is really nice. I mean, there's no questioning what it is that you're looking for. It's we're on step 2. And it looks like, I mean, these are the screws. I like this. I've put together a CR10, which obviously takes almost nothing. There's a couple screws on the sides, you know, for stabilizers, and then through the bottom of the extrusions. And then the Tronxy X1 was a full build kit, and that did not go very well at all. I got videos up on it. So this is an interesting compare and contrast, if you will. So we'll see how it goes. And again, I apologize. I'll try and cut out some of the length here. So now we're basically taking the longer extrusions, and we're going to make sure the Prusa logo is not visible. Prusa logo is actually there. So it's going to be like this. And ensure you're using the correct holes. Looking at the second picture, which is what I'm on right now. This is the first one. They want to make sure that it's not like this, that it's like this. And then we're going to make sure we're using these holes here. And those holes there. I don't know how long it's going to last with we'll see. So there's actually a picture that tells you exactly which ones, and then it also says, if I remember correctly, not to tighten them. Then it's, oh yeah, it says, but only on a diagonal. So it'll actually, it wants you to put them all in, and then before you tighten them, they want to do it on a diagonal, which is pretty typical for making sure things are things are square and level. Tighten them just slightly. What I'm going to try and avoid, when I did the build video for the Tronxy, well, first off, it had a ton of issues, but better not have anything like that. I have no doubt I won't. That one took quite a while because I was doing the video, and I don't know. I was doing it mainly for my daughter, and she's at fault for all of this, really. So this one I'm just kind of going through it, and I was thinking about doing it live, but decided not to do it live. I wanted the ability to be able to stop as needed. So I just basically left them all loose, and now I'm going to start snugging them, and I'm just using the gravity to help keep everything square. At least that's the idea. So now I'm going to go zigzag and actually tighten these things. As per the instructions. Ow. That's tight. So let's go to the next step. So again, we're going to the same mode where you're going to be putting these now on this side, where it's not the logo, because the logo should be over here. Then it says to see the second picture, which is this one, which is just ensuring that we're using the right things. And rinse and repeat. Maybe I'm going to see how this goes if I build it here. Maybe that'll help. We'll see. Get fancy and actually move this over here. How's that? They didn't tell me to rotate it yet, but you know, I am. Notice I got my Prusa shirt on. Came with the printer. Pretty exciting. That was actually a thing. It was pretty funny. As soon as they started doing the whole, if you order on the sale, you get a t-shirt. It was amazing how many people got all bent out of shape because they weren't going to get one at first. Whatever. I didn't buy the printer for a t-shirt. I could always buy a t-shirt if I wanted one. But it was really cool as a bonus. It's kind of funny, this is going to be a middle-sized one because I got the CR10 there, which is big, and it was the first printer I got, so everything that I'm doing is always kind of in a comparison to the build volume of that. And I remember when I was first looking, trying to decide what I was going to buy, and another guy at work bought a Prusa, and he was waiting on it to show up, a Mark IIs or Mark II, I don't know which one he had actually. Probably two, I don't know. And it took a while for it to show up, but I was honestly just wanting to get into it and wasn't excited about the concept of waiting. So I ended up, because I was kind of a now guy, and I wanted to get going, so that's why I ended up with the CR10. I thought the CR10 was, plus it was easier to swallow cost-wise, not knowing if I was really going to get into it or not. So I don't regret buying the CR10 at all. I learned a lot from that thing, because it's a tinker printer. It's I'm definitely a fanboy of it, but if anybody says it's not a tinker printer, they're lying to themselves or to you. It definitely is good for upgrading and all that. I mean, so many people get themselves in trouble as they start upgrading everything before they even do anything. Alright, so again, I used gravity kind of to get this going, and now we're tightening at diagonals as per the instructions. Ensuring that I don't over tighten, but I don't under tighten. So yeah, this one's looking a little bit, it's amazing how much smaller they feel when you compare it to a CR10, but of course it's much larger than the Tronxy, but totally different type of printer, obviously. Tronxy is a weird beast. Very much so. Alright, now so we got that done, and we've got, now we're doing a final check for it, make sure the frame, so we have Prusa in the front, like so. Prusa's labels here, and you got your long extrusions on that side of it, and the outer pieces are your smaller ones. Very nice. Very nice. So now I need some Y-axis plates. Chill seems to finally be going away out of the these plates are actually really nice. These really well made. Good job, Prusa. I don't know if all of them are always this way or not. It'd be interesting to know. Really nice. And we need more of these screws. We need 16 of them. Hopefully I have 16. 4, 8, 16. Yeah, buddy. So, what do we got now? I wish this view could be zoomed up a little bit, but, you know, whatever. I think this should be good. So now we're going to be, get my glasses out of the way. We're going to rotate the frame towards me, and we're going to be putting the shorter one, I'm assuming, on like this. And don't tighten them yet. They keep yelling at me. Don't tighten yet. Okay. So far, even all the threads and the extrusions are very nice. probably save 10 hours just if I got my drivers out. But then I wouldn't be using the tools that came with the kit. Oh, the dilemma. Faster build or building it off of what comes. I'm going to stick with what came with it, I think. Just for you. So if I complain a little bit, sorry. Remember, it's just for you. Not the other one, you. Yeah, you. So I guess somebody did a stream. I didn't watch it. I was busy feeling sorry for myself because my printer wasn't here. But somebody was a brand new guy. It took a long time from what I understand with his unboxing and then the build. But I think he was brand new from what I understand. Like, never had anything with printers at all. And I didn't hear anything negative, so, and he did it in one go. That's why I didn't want to go live. I'm a wimp that way. I want to be able to stop and do what I need to do. All right, so I'm going to let gravity help me again. And I'm going to tighten at the diagonal. As per instructions. I want it to be nice and tight, but I don't want to strip anything either. A little bit nervous on the printed parts because there was a report on the forums of somebody busting one of the parts. I've got a note kind of as this to what it looks like, and I'm going to keep an eye out for it. I'm not sure which is a better view. And of course, I'm going to move this window up here. I think that's a little bit better. We'll see. We'll adjust and modify. So now that I totally sidetracked myself by maneuvering things around, it seems like I'm here now more than the other view, so it may be more useful for you. And again, the pictures are so good on, I don't foresee anybody having any issues building this because the instructions are just amazing. So now I'm doing the last 4 screws here. Again, at a diagonal, and that's to keep things square and true-ish. So now the next step is I have to get these bad boys. Take the frame, rotate it with the shorter, find the PSU holders in the package. That would be these guys. Place the holders in the extrusion, ensure it's the correct one, according to the thing. It would be here and here. Exact position doesn't matter. And now we're doing the whole tightening thing. Got a little wobble already that kind of bugs me, but we'll see. So that's kind of where we're at now, is that everything, we want it to be square and true and fabulous and awesome and whatnot. So I'm getting all of these in, but no tighty. The more care that you're doing as you're putting any kind of a assembly like this together is every second you spend during the assembly making sure everything is absolutely correct. It's going to be saving you tons of time on the other end. Things will be square, they'll be true, they'll calibrate well. So don't rush through any of this. Enjoy the process. I mean, if you didn't want to build something, you should have bought a full assembly, you know, one already assembled. Kind of use this to learn and look and get to know the printer, know what you're going to need to do later, possibly. As you're going through, you're going to be learning things, so you're going to know how to diagnose other problems. Yeah, enjoy it. Don't rush it. Don't rush. I really wanted to have a print going right now, but I didn't want to deal with the noise, and now I'm kind of regretting it, because at least it would have been some background noise. I was going to play Christmas music because 'tis the season, but hello. But then again, everybody, oh, that's probably just amplified. I apologize, sorry. I'm not buying new speakers though. Maybe I'll cut that out if it's too loud. Alright, so now with this, I am going to snug this all up. Snug that. So I'm kind of just excuse me. I need more hands. So we'll see if this works. So now I'm just basically going through of course I'm assuming my bench is square. Hold that thought. Let's see if this was any better. Not 100% sure if it's flat or not. Looks like my bench maybe have a little bit of rock to it. This looks like it's a little bit flatter. I don't know. Depends, because it's got a rock there. Doesn't really have a rock here. I'm gonna pause for a moment while I try and figure out. Okay, I verified my level and it looks like there's some slight warpage on my bench. So I went out to another bench that I knew was flat, and then I also used the square just to see. It's good information to know. So I think it's pretty square, so we'll have to just see. It should be square enough. There's just a tiny bit, but if you rotate it a little bit, we're good, I think. But if you go over to here, it's solid. So we'll see how it goes. If I have issues, I will redo. So now it's talking about protecting the surface, which I am okay with. Turn it onto its side. And squish it into the extrusion at each corner. Well, that's just plain funky, but it works. No complaint about that. Works better than I thought it was going to work. It says to rotate it until it goes in. Nice. It's like they thought through this. Imagine that. Oh, excess plastic. So we'll see how all this stuff works out. So they said the big difference between this and the is you have to actually pick it up, which is fine. All right, so that's exciting. We have a carriage. All right, so now we are looking for some Y-axis pots. We're looking for orange pots. I think this looks, that's X-axis, there's the Y-axis. And I'm thinking we can probably 6, 7, and 8. Nice. And the Prusa box. Done. All right. So now we're going to look for another piece that I thought was actually really cool. That's worth probably pointing out. If you look at the screen capture of this, this is the instructions. You notice they have the green, and it ties right to that. So you know exactly when they say Y holder front, you know the blue ones. I know, just a little tidbit, but I think it's really cool. Yeah. Let's go with that one. So we're looking for, assuming these 4. And we're going to see just how, I think these may have been the ones that they had issues with, that somebody had an issue with it breaking. So the ones with the little nubs on it are the front ones, and the ones without the nubs are the back ones. Printed parts look pretty decent. They look very nice, actually. So anyways, and then we also need, from this other bag, we need some M3. I'm actually going to get out a little dish to help. Bad print, failed print. Reuse, now it's a dish. It is a parts dish. So we're looking for the screw I dropped on the floor. And we need 8 of these bad boys. With some of the square nuts. So I need one more. So 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. So far everybody can count. So we've prepared our parts, and now we're going to go to the next one. So now we have to actually, we're putting nuts into the pots. Talk about dimensional accuracy. So you don't want to force anything. It looks like everything's pretty clean though. I'm just basically checking each of the slots to make sure it's a nice clean fit, because they should just slide right in. Slide right in. That's what I'm saying, they did really, the parts are really nice looking. Because I've seen pretty bad printed parts, and this is not that. This one seems a little bit tight. So I am going to see why. Just gonna roll a little bit. Clean it up. There. Seems to be a little bit better. There it goes. All right. You don't want to really force any of this stuff. It's especially in the printed parts. Just make sure all the holes are cleaned out. They're really looking nice. I should put on some glasses so I can actually see, even though it looks like I'm seeing. They printed really well, but it just, you know, sometimes a little bit of stuff gets stuck in there. And yeah, they should just press right in, and then they're nice. You don't want to be jamming them, beating on them, or anything like that. If it doesn't go well, pull them back out, clean it up a little bit, so you can get some good fits in there. Like this one right here has just a little bit. I don't know if you'll see it. The in the edges of the notch, you can see just a little bit of stuff in the corners. You can just clean it out a little bit. Don't dig too hard. You don't want to change the dimensioning or anything. You're just trying to clean up the little pieces, the little extra pieces of plastic. Yeah. Beautiful. All four pieces went in well. And again, they warn you to be careful. Make sure there's no crap hole in there. And now they're saying mounting the holders front and back. They first take the Y holder pieces, and they're the blue ones, and the blue ones are the ones that have the notches on them. And they're saying to take these bad boys. And then you flip them up. So they want the notch down. I would rather it be just a little bit cleaner. Because I want it to be smooth. All right. I just don't like the angle of those. That's what I'm messing with at the moment, is they're not quite, they're probably good. They're probably fine. No reason to overthink it. I could have swore I just heard my front door open. Somebody's probably here to steal my printer. I will fight for it. So these basically, what they had you do was you rotate them down so the notches at the bottom with the screw holes up, and then they want you to rotate it towards the spot to make sure that you're into it correctly, because you have to be able to put the screws in. So it says tighten them, but not completely. They will do more later. So we'll just kind of snug them up without breaking anything. So now it wants us to put these in. And I'm not certain it matters which way, but it may. So it looks like if you look at these parts, for the ones that are free floating, one edge of it is beveled. That beveled should be away from where the screws are at, is what it looks like. So it should be away from the flat plate, the beveled edge, according to the picture anyways. That's what it looks like. Yep. That's what it looks like. Just trying to make sure that that I'm not leading you astray. Yeah, you can see that it's basically, you want the channel for the zip tie to be further away from the plate. That's what it appears. So the bevel away from the plate. It's so quiet. Really wish I could get music going. But copyright would go crazy, so we won't. All right. This is really annoying. Let's go this way. There we go. All right. Yeah, the build is actually all right in the way of my screen, as you can see. So now we are preparing the idler. So we need to get some more pots. We need another pot. Once we get the idler, which also appears to be well printed. So we have that. And now we need the idler itself, and we need a long screw, 2 short screws, and 3 capture nuts. Got a lot of nuts. And that's all we need from that. So now, some nylocks, they call them M3s. We're going to prepare it by pressing, and again, we're going to do the same thing. We're doing a visual that looks really clean. And I'm going to use needle nose to help drop these in. And then press them carefully. You don't want to screw your threads up. So you want them to go in here. You just want to be careful that we're not over pressuring anything. It should pop in, and then they say just using this to pull the nuts in. I probably could do it as I was. Yeah. So basically, yeah, it looks like this is just not quite at the right. I can't quite press them in. So rather than forcing anything, I'm just setting it lightly on there, hold it with my finger so I can get the screw started. And then I'm going to, you just kind of hold it in place there, and then you like screw it through. And I'm going to use this to pull the nuts down into the thing. You just got to be careful because they're pulling through pretty easily right now. Again, a little bit of care and time on this end will save a ton on the other end. And I could do this all kind of at the same time, but I wanted to make sure that they're not in the way. So it pulled down fine once I did that. And now we'll do the same with the other one. Thread it in and pull it back. Yellow. Probably gonna fast forward some of this futzy stuff. Good grief. So right now it's just pulling the nut in. Okay, so that's going, and now I need to go. Oh, gotta put the other one in. I'm actually putting the idler on when I do this one, I believe. You just got to be careful that you're not breaking anything or putting any undue pressure. As it goes through. So this one's not wanting to line up very good. So you just want to kind of fiddle with it until you can get some threads started. Which is really what we're after here. So, yeah. This is, you want to be careful about, don't use too much pressure either, because the direction of the layer lines is going to make this kind of weak. So I see a little bit of something down there. So let me get my handy dandy So basically all I'm doing is trying to, for whatever reason, it's a little bit burred during the print. So what I'm doing is using a flat-faced file and just kind of smoothing out any of the burrs, because I need more threads. I need to go a little bit deeper by just pressing it, just so I can get the screw started. Unless that happens, there. That's looking promising. Let's try this whole thing again. So really all I did was smooth out a little bit of layer lines that let me push it down just far enough that I'll be able to grab threads now, theoretically. Yes. So now when you tighten this, we are tightening across a gap now, so just be careful. And that's what they were saying, is that you don't want to over tighten it. Because this is the idler. Looks like it pulled down nicely. So you want it to be nice and smooth, because this is what is letting your belt move. So you snug it down so you can get a good grip, and then you want to adjust it so you'd have, so it's holding it snug, but the pulley moves nice and free. So it says again, the bearing housing doesn't matter, and don't fully tighten the screw. Place your finger on the bearing, ensure you can rotate freely, and adjust it accordingly. All right, there's that. So next, we are going to mount it on the long extrusion side. Actually, let's put it on this way. And it is going to go like this. There's a circle mark printed on it. You'll notice this side there's nothing, but on this side there's a circle. And they say to put that up. Tink. So that's what we're gonna do. And it says, don't tighten. So we're not. You will need a loose wide belt idler to adjust the tension of the belt later. That seems hokey, but hey, we will do what we're told. All right, so that's loose because we didn't tighten it. Amazing the way that works. And now we're, oh, exciting. We need a Y-axis piece, and we need a Y-axis motor, and we need to, again, I think I said this in the build, we need to make sure that we're using the correct motor because of the wire. So you pull it out and you look and you see extruder, which is not the right one, and then you pull the next one out and you see Y-axis, which would make it the right one. So, as you can see, it says Y-axis. It does not want to focus. So anyway, y-axis, because the wires are different sizes. So now we need 4 of the screws. And I bet, 2 regular nuts, not the nylock. Make sure you're using the right screws or the right nuts. So these are 2 regular nuts, not the nylocks. The previous ones are all been, the other ones were nylock. Make sure you use the right motor. Yep. So now we're going to prepare this. And we are going to put, these on there. Press them down. And then drop the wrench or the pliers, and we'll pick them up and do it again. So these press in way better than the nylocks. The nylocks seem to be, that was a little bit worse. But we made it work. All right, so we have a prepared pot. And now it basically says to take the nuts and insert them. And then we can place the motor holder on the motor and ensure the correct orientation, and then using 2 of the screws tighten the holder onto it. So we're going to make sure, according to the pictures, that the wires are coming out and the same side of the wire. You get the wire here, and we need to flat on the back, and then they're saying to tighten the 2 together. So really the key there is where the wires are coming out of the motor. And then the flat piece, you want to make sure that they're correctly oriented to each other. And it's all spelled out in the motor or in the manual. So you can see motor, flat part. Those are the 2 pieces you really care about. And we have the motor or the wires, and then the flat part. And then the screws are a bit snug in the holes, which is fine. Just kind of screw them through. They'll pull through as they need once you get to that point. And then you just get them started on the motor. And make sure everything's kind of stays flush up against as you're snugging this stuff up. And you want to make sure this is nice and tight. Obviously you don't go over tight and start stripping and breaking stuff, but certainly want it snug. Now we are going to the short side. And we are going to mount it as it says. It's turning into a printer, not just a bunch of parts. And it says to make sure, again in here, the directions are really, really good. That's why I don't think too many people are going to need this. This is probably more just to get people to have something to look at while they're waiting for their printer. But they want the shaft to be pointed towards the nuts, power supply nuts. I don't want to over tighten these because they're just pulling the nuts in that channel flush and tight. Not sure I'm loving these wrenches. All right, so that's good. So now, ooh, exciting. I'm gonna set this off to the side for the moment. And we're going to pull out the bed here. So we need the carriage and this last piece here. This bag is now empty. I am going to have one heck of a pile of mess to clean up. So there's that, and we have some U-bolt or some U's. And we have some linear bearings that we should unbox or unpackage. Well, that's unfortunate. There's a bearing missing. That is very unfortunate. I only see one though. And it talks about that, so one missing should be okay. All right, and then we need 6 nylock nuts. Minimize mess. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Right. Oh, and then 2 screws, which are a big surprise, the last 2. So now we are installing the bearings. So we're going to, this is a very important part of the assembly, significantly influence the behavior, so read carefully. Place it on a flat surface, orientation doesn't matter. Insert the bearings in the cutout and secure it by the U-bolt. So I'm putting it on the cutout and I'm securing it by the U-bolt, Hold the U-bolt and turn the carriage. Place the nylock nuts on both ends of the U-bolt. I am doing as instructed. Tighten the nuts, but ensure both nuts are tightened equally. As soon as you reach the surface, stop tightening. So the idea behind this is that you're just keeping it square and you don't want to over crush them. So you're keeping some pressure on the top of the nut, and then you're just basically tightening them both. I'm almost touching there, so now I'm going to move to this one. Because what you don't want to do is start reefing on these and collapsing the bearings, because that would be bad. So you're just wanting to hold it. So you're just trying to center it on here to keep it as level as possible, which is why they say pull them up together. There. Okay, so we're going to call that good. And rinse and repeat. Over tightening leads to deformation of the bearings. We don't want a deformated bearing. So we're going to make sure that we don't deform any bearings. Again, keep them through there. Push it down snug. So now we're holding the piece on there, and there's a channel cut into the carriage, which is kind of cool. So that's what keeps the bearings really in place, and all you're doing with this is really preventing them from coming out. You're not using them to hold them in, if you will, meaning snugging them down. You're literally using the U-bolt to prevent them from raising up, and then the edges of the channel that it's sitting in is really what's holding it from doing anything. And if you crush them down, you're actually going to crush the bearing, and you're going to deform it to the point that it's going to now have friction as the rods are trying to slide through it. And that's not good. I don't like using pliers for stuff like this, but I'm feeling lazy for one. And I don't want to go get a wrench. And I already said I'm trying to use what is given here. So that's what we're doing. So now we're doing the last one. Again, just kind of hand screwing it down till the nylock part comes into play. Again, you want to make sure the rounded piece that has the plastic is away from the part. So all the threads are in, and then the nylock is just like it's a lock nut, if you will. Helps things keep from vibrating free. So again, you're just screwing it down till it's flat, kind of flush on the carriage, if you will. And then we're doing the other one. You're kind of doing them at the same time. So you don't want to overdo one or the other, because then it'll rock one way or another, and that's not what we're after. You want to be careful of these bearings too, because like you saw, I had one bearing out, which should be absolutely fine. But you want to be careful with them. Don't be rough, because they're kind of by default designed to. They're very loose, and the rod inside will actually hold everything in place. All right, so now we have those in place, and ensure the nuts tighten just to the thing, and they're all equal, which they are. Looking at the bottom, they're all looking pretty equal. This one maybe just a go snug. Yep, no, it was all looking good. And you want to center, it says that you're wanting to center in the channel. Looks good. So it's basically snugged up. So what you're looking for is you want the bearing to be centered in here as well on both sides. And you can just fiddle with the nut on this side, because everything's kind of loose. Well, not loose, but you can just move this back and forth, and that lets you center everything up. Probably doesn't have to be dead perfect, but perfection is something good to go for. So now it's flush up against the bottom here, and once you're all happy with it, then they're saying to take the pliers and rotate each nut 90 degrees. So we're going to do that, and that's 90 degrees. So we're just going to go 90. 90. Ow. God, I don't like pliers for this. 90. Close enough. 90. Pinched myself. Hate using pliers for this. I need to go get a wrench. All right, 90, 90, 90, 90, 90. Now we want the bearings to be up, and this is going to go this way with 2 screws. And it wants to make sure that the teeth openings for the belt is towards the 2 bearings. Is important. And we are going to put screws through, and their holes are threaded apparently. Just be careful as you're putting them in. Make sure you get the threads started well. So according to the length of it, we'll see how long they go. I didn't think this one was going to be like that, but we may do one video for each section. I think I will. And I will load them as I'm going. That could be kind of cool. All right, turning it into a printer. Now we are inserting smooth rods into the Y carriage. Take all the rods that are in the tube. We're going for the mid-sized rods. The first thing I'm going to do is pull some of this stuff out. Put that there. We're going to pull all the rods out. Get all the stuff out. And I'm probably causing a bunch of noise in the microphone, and I apologize. And I'm just putting all the wrap. And then if you hold these together, there's 3 different size sets of rods. And we want the middle ones, so that's what we're taking. Again, sorry for the noise. Now, the nervous part. Take all the rods, compare the sizes, which we have now. We went the 330 millimeter ones, and we are going to insert the rods straight into the bearings. Do not apply much force. 1 or 2 balls out of them is fine. We want to be very cautious and careful as we are aligning them all up together. Boy, that just doesn't. What's up? So now we're doing this one. Again, you're just being really careful when you press them through. See, they're nice. They're through now, and I'm looking for bearings. So when you're putting them through, just be cautious as you do it, because there's little plastic ends on either, and then the bearings are inside. So you want to kind of get it through that and then press it through the bearing slowly. And when you get to this side, again, you're just going to wiggle it around until you get it to go through, and then slowly press it through, and then you're done. So, anywho, it's looking good. And then do the final check to make sure you didn't lose a whole bunch of ball bearings. And the ball bearings look like that. You want to make sure you don't have, as I lost it. Big surprise, they're rolling all over the place. So I lost one, but that was actually in shipping. So we'll see how that works out. All right, so we got that taken care of. Now we're going to take the carriage and we're going to put them into the rods. Yay, this is exciting. So we need the long extrusion this way. So we got the long towards me. We're going to have the double rods as I rotate it. Be careful as you're rotating so it doesn't go flying everywhere. And then they set like so. And then using your thumb, apparently using your thumb, oh, they're pressed in there. Nice. Kind of noisy bearings though. I don't know if definitely noisy. It's probably going to be the loudest part of the printer. Don't use excessive force. So don't do what I was trying to do a little bit earlier. So now we are securing the Y carriage with our wonderful zip ties. And we are going to make sure that the zip ties go. Where are the zip ties? Where did I put them? Zip ties, where are you? There they are. So let's get some scissors out. And get 4 zip ties out. And now we are actually, it tells you exactly how to press them, and they're going to go through like so. There's a channel already, channel there, and then the end goal is you want the head of it to be over to the side. So you're going to go like this, and then like so. Rinse and repeat. So you want the head of it inside. So on this one, we're going to do slightly different. You're going to put the head on the outer part, and you're going to feed in. And that just shot across the desk. And again, you're going to want the flat part is going to be facing up. So as you feed it through, be cautious as you're going through, because you are going to be fighting a little bit of layer lines. You can grab the tip with some pliers, pull it through, and you're going to want that when you flip it over like this, the nub portion should be up. So now we're going to zip it through like that. And you kind of do that whole lift pull thing, and you're really just holding it down with that. Side cutters, side cutters. I need side cutters. Must in tags. You can use the pliers. I just lied to you and ended up using a tool that didn't come, but anybody that's doing printing should have side cutters, in my opinion. All right, so there's that. And now let's rotate it around and do the other side. And again, flat side up. Wiggle through. Pull. Flat side up, feed it through. This is both of them on that side. Again, you're watching layer lines so you don't damage anything. And snug it down. And then flush cut. Flush cut. Make sure when you're flush cutting these that you do them actually flat and flush. If you go at an angle, you're going to cut yourself. That's the whole piece of it. You want to make sure it's nice and flat so you don't, when you're reaching in there, you don't cut yourself open. That's a pro tip for free. So now we did that. We're on step 28. Now we are aligning the smooth rods. Important. Proper alignment of the smooth rods is crucial to reduce noise and overall friction. Okay. So ensure all M30 screws are released so the parts, and again, this is that whole anyway, we'll get her figured out. All right, so we want to make sure these holders that hold the rods are all loose. That's what it's saying. So that's what we're doing. So they're all released. So now it says to move the entire length of the rods to align them. Then move the carriage to the front plate and tighten. And then you move it to the back and tighten. So move it here. And then we snug them up. And once they're snug as a bug in a rug, we'll move it to the other side. Again, that's so kind of noisy. I'm used to the roller bearings, you know, and they're really, really quiet. So, but probably not as accurate, I'm sure. There's a reason they, Prusa, uses these, and I am not one to argue, so it's just a little bit louder than and I'm sure there's some way to get it a little quieter if I ever have a need or desire. So now we tighten the front and the back, and now we are assembling the Y-motor pulley. Okay, so this one now, I'm gonna move this out of my way. You're gonna rotate the shaft so the flat part of the shaft is up. And then we're gonna take the pulley. And the first thing I wanna do is make sure the 2 set screws are in it, which they are. And then you look down inside and make sure they're not actually tightened too far in, which they are not. And then you're going to actually make sure that you take, I just like the whole, this top one will go onto the flat, and then this one will be out here so you can actually get to the 2 of them. So you're going to do this, and then with it here, you're going to just slowly snug one down, and then you're going to feel that it's in the flat. And that's what you want. You want it to actually be nice and snug against the flat. And be careful as you're doing this, because you're going to actually be able to move the stepper. So you want to, don't press it against the, we're going to end up aligning these, so I'm just going to go slightly in from the end for now. So for now, I'm just going to, yeah, That's probably good, because we'll do more of it later, I'm sure. Ooh. And now I'm being OCD because it doesn't match the picture. There. So, Y-axis assembly of the belt. Yay. Yay. I don't remember seeing the belt. Oh, this is a problem. Where's the belt? Ruh-roh. Oh, right in front of me. That made me nervous. I'm like, where the heck the belt? It's this little tiny little... Yeah. That made me nervous. Alright, so we have a belt. So turn the frame so it's on its right side. So... we're going to do it like it's that. And this is going to be impossible for you to see, but we'll make her work here. I'm going to... Okay, so it says to use the bottom opening of the extrusion and gently insert the cable. So we're going to, gently insert the cable or the belt, whatever the heck you want to call it. So basically they have this just pulling out of your way is what they're doing. That's kind of nifty. Neat idea. All right, so I am now inserting. You can't see it very well, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to do much. Yeah, you're just not going to see it. Sorry. Follow the manual on this one. Yeah. So you're going to want to make sure that you press your belt well down into the slot. And use the small Allen that you have to press it in. You're just going to use that as kind of a little probe, if you will, to make sure we're all the way down in the slot. Again, teeth are down. Then we're going to feed through the pulley. I don't know that. There. This may be doable for you. So you want to make sure that you put it through here. You're going to press them all the way down. Yeah, I can't see now. So, sorry. You're just going to have to use the directions on this one. So now we're going to feed the belt through the loose pulley. Do not use the second slot in the either pulley. Guide the belt above the rear plate, not below it. Turn the printer on its feet. Don't damage or smash your wiring. You're gonna now feed it through. So you're basically feeding the belt now into the idler. And then beyond that, now we're hooking up to the belt. And then we're going to get back into all of this. And now we pulled it around the motor. And now hold the Y carriage by hand. To prevent its movement. And now we're sure the idler isn't tightened completely to the front plate, otherwise you won't be able to adjust the tension later. So we're going to give us a little bit more looseness there. So basically I loosen these because you want this idler pulley to be loose. So you're going to now be pulling it across. You don't have to use the whole V-slot with the belt. And we're going to pull the belt. So I'm going to basically hold the carriage with one hand, a couple fingers, and I'm just trying to create some tension and pressure so it's not overly loose. I'm not sure I liked what I saw there. That's not bad. So you're basically, let's see if I can get this. So as you're doing it in this direction, you're holding a little tension with the Y belt or the carriage as you're pressing the belt into that. So you're kind of, and that's the whole point of this being loose down here, because now once we're into it, then we'll be able to snug these down to tighten it, because this is too loose at the moment. So that, and it tells you, it explains all that in the applicable. Okay, press it all the way in. That's what we're doing. And again, you're pressing the, that's really a neat way for them to do that. The other option you see a lot is the whole fold it back on themselves and then zip tie them. But this is kind of a neat, kind of a higher tech, if you will. As long as the plastic holds up, it should be good. Press it all the way in. The belt should be stretched and not easily bent. See, I'm wondering if I can get one more tooth out of it. I'm thinking I can. The more snug you can make it, the better will be later. Yeah, I got like one more tooth out of it. So you want to make it as snug and tight that you want to be pulling as you're pushing it into that top slot. And that really, kind of the snugger you can get it there, the better you're going to be when you're adjusting it, the final tension there. So I got one more tooth out of it and it worked good. And it's nice and snug now. I like that. That's good. All right, so now we're going to align the X belt. So we're going to make sure we're back on our thing here. And now, if you're looking at this, we know that the center of these belt is held both ends, but the bottom can go back and forth. So it's basically saying to make sure the belt is placed on the axis. The top and bottom part of the belt should be parallel above each other. So I want it, and this is another reason why you're careful about what direction. So now I'm going to push and pull this in. And you're just basically moving it as you're eyeballing the belt. From the top, you're moving the pulley here in and out. You basically loosen this set screw a little bit, and you're going to move it in and out, and you look at the bottom. So if I pull it too far out to the edge, you can see the bottom belt is off to this side. And if I push it in too far, one I hit here, I actually am hitting the motor, but also it is too far that way. So you want to kind of split that difference, and you want to kind of average it, and you're looking at it, and then you just snug it down. So I snugged it. I'm just going to slide it a little bit so I can get to that other screw. And now I'm going to snug that one up. And that should be good. And I tighten both screws to the pulley. Using the Allen key, tighten and release the screws on the front plate to try and adjust both screws the same. So it's basically these screws, the top and bottom ones. You want to kind of looking at the gap that's in here, you want to make sure it's even. And then you're testing the tension of the belt. Using a finger on the left hand, push the belt down. Some force should be needed for bending the belt. Don't overstretch the belt as you might damage the printer. So I've got a nice gap here, and I've got a really good tension here. And as you use it, and the belt stretches, it gives you a little bit of ability, but you want it snug. I mean, you don't want this loose by any means, but you also don't want it overly stretched. This gives you some ability to tighten it up later. Really, you want to make sure that there's no play in here, which there's not. This is actually really snug. Really nicely set up. All right. So that's good. And now we're going to test the white belt, which is what you just saw me doing. So you can use pliers. I use my fingers, but you can use pliers on the flat of the belt. The idea is now I'm holding the pulley and I'm trying to move the carriage back and forth this way. And it should be nice and snug, which it is. There's no movement at all. Life is good. Y-axis is finished. Yay! So now it says to open, because I got to follow directions. It's not that I like these, but I have to follow directions, and the directions said that I should have a few of these. What they said, otherwise it won't go together right. So, all right, there we go. That's all there is on the first step, as I almost choke on these. And I will end the video here, and I'll start another one to do the next step. Thank you much. Yay.